that's a conclusion I also came to too with like when it came to like IGLing was like CS is pretty much just all it's like a util exchange and like correctly timing when that exchange happens. It's like it's because that's like you can't plan on winning a duel. Like I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you can set up for it, but you can plan on throwing like the correct util and like you can plan on like correct util responses. So like
Yeah.
it and the amount of like advantages that util gives you in a team environment is like it's so huge is that's like the game is it literally just revolves around utility exchanges and
I
like
agree,
when
but I
to
also think
skimp on the util as well.
yeah, I agree, and certainly we've reached an era where all utility is so versatile, right? Like you can use smoke as cover, and you can use it to like create space. You can use an HE to do damage, to mask you, or to open a smoke. So like, there's so much variety of how util works. But I also think it's a bit myopic to only look at utility as how you play CS, right? Like my first fundamental video that I posted was about scaling. How do you post on an angle, and when someone is posted on an angle, how do you scale with it? That doesn't need utility. So utility is useful, but I think it's also a lazy approach to trying to build a philosophy of how to play CS, right? Because
Mm.
today's content, right? Like people like Nard out here, Austin CS, me included, we all will teach you how to throw utility. And everyone now knows how to throw utility. It's also now how do you play around the utility? How do you play without utility? How do you actually be creative? So it's not just utility, but yes, utility is also very important.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of how I approached it. It was always like it was like the most important things, at least for me, when it came to like dictating a call, was numbers. Like that's number one. Like what's the numbers of the other team? Like how do they usually play?
Yeah.
Like, get that from Sun Tzu, like strong at the head,
Yeah.
attack at the tail type
No,
stuff.
Sun Tzu shit is just so applicable. Like
Dude,
attack
it
the
literally
enemy where he
is.
is the weakest. Hell yeah, like
Yeah,
that just applies in CS. Guys, they're uppers A. We gotta go B.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit's like it actually helps so much. But
Hmm.
numbers, economy, because that just like it limits what they're able to do.
Yeah.
Then you could just expect context if they're low economy. Like you expect them to dry peek you. You can set up accordingly. And then like utility as well. It's like, and then you like it's like about like combining all three. How are they playing like with all three like on a certain area, and then you come up with
Hmm.
like correct responses for each. So like a team could be like really pack heavy. Like they're always like moving in groups of four,
Yeah.
and they're light on their util. It's like okay like. These guys are. We probably shouldn't fight the pack. Like we're just gonna
Yeah.
lose if we try and fight banana. And they're four
That's a
there.
great point, but I feel like you added an extra comment here, which is they play as a pack and they're light on utility. What if they're not light on utility? Why do you keep asking a question about utility? Stop asking that. If they play as a pack, you need to learn how to punish a pack.
But
You don't need
yeah,
to learn how to punish a pack if they have high utility or low utility. You just need to know how to punish them. If you hyperfixate on utility, you enter a position where you will never win a round where you don't actually have full nades, which is a bit sad, right? And
yeah.
oftentimes the most memorable rounds in CS are if we watch pros play, are the ones where they make magic out of nothing, right? Like they go for an overpass triple boost, or someone like jump peaks with an op and gets a kill or something. So what you really need to look at is not just the utility, but also how do you use an advantage? How do you make an advantage? Is there a boost you can employ? Can you stack a bomb site? Can you make a rotation? So don't only focus on utility as a team, focus on a lot more other fundamentals as well. Try to polish all of them, because especially in today's era, everyone knows utility. So trying to make an edge just from utility alone it's not misguided, but it has diminishing returns.
I see what you're saying, but like I think the biggest reason why I always like threw it in is like they kind of go together is that like there's certain styles of teams with certain combos of numbers and utility that like they have their own solutions to beating. So like an example is like a split team, like a team
Yeah.
that's always like 2-1-2. If they're
Yes.
like a split team and both sides of the map are, let's say Inferno, right? They're
Yep.
T side and they're split. The banana guys, they always molly car, they molly
Yeah.
corner, they molly sandbags. You got the apps guy, he mollies Balk, then they molly ports, they smoke arch, and they're always 2-2, and they're dumping utility like first 40 seconds of the round. It's like, yeah, you can punish them for being split, but you can also punish them for being split and util heavy by just
Yes.
like waiting for like phase 3 of the round. Like there's like
Yeah.
several solutions for that type of team, but it's like
Hmm.
there's some unique solutions that come up like with the component of utility being involved
Yeah.
in addition to the numbers. So
Yeah.
that's why I it's not
I
like
can't
one's
deny
more
how
important than the
important it
other.
is to learn how to play around utility, right? Like
Yeah.
you still need to know how to play around the utility other team throws and how to use your own utility around it. Just don't hyperfixate on it. Add
Yeah,
other layers to your
definitely.
game. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, cuz if you yeah, there's definitely more to it. Like I feel like I think it all goes down to numbers. That's just me. Like
Yeah.
if you can handle numbers, then like you know how to like beat certain styles of team, and then like what teams essentially are doing with utility is just hiding numbers because
Yes.
of how important numbers are. Like
Yes.
they're gonna, they're gonna do the same shit that they do when they're split when they end up packing to hide how they are. Because once
Yeah.
you get number information, like you just win the round. Like if you know how to play accordingly.
Yeah. The best example I can use here is once you know the numbers, it becomes a game of chess. Because now you both have info, or you have information on what the other player is doing, right?
Yeah.
Before you get those numbers, you're playing a game of CS in the sense that you have to understand what the other team is doing. So part of that mid-routing analogy with chess that comes back in. So really, you're right about that. Like when you have to play for numbers, you have to play for utility. You also have to mask what you're doing, right? Like your
Yeah.
utility is used to condition, and also you try to mask your numbers, right? Like if four guys are making steps outside of like in nuke lobby, like the CTs know there's nobody outside, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of things are really important, certainly.
That's dude. You actually, bro. You summed it up perfectly. If you don't have the numbers, you're playing a game of CS, and then once you have it's chess. Because that, bro. I swear to God, once I find out like how a team is set up, it's like boom. I know how to react. It's like
Yeah.
It's almost like you're playing chess with like a smoke grenade on the fog of war type of chess.
Yeah. And
I
what's
think
even more BS if you're in this position is the other team doesn't know that, right?
yeah,
Like, because if the other team knows it, they know they fucked up. If they don't know it, you're gonna fuck them up, and then they'll know they fucked up. So
yeah.
it's just a win-win situation in that sense as a tactician.